All right. Hello, everybody. From the Gulf Coast, West Coast, East Coast, South Coast. Let's go global. I don't care. I'm so excited. I mean, come on, Ivy. I'm just so excited. I don't know what to do. Are you excited, girl?
I'm excited.
I think we need to introduce ourselves and let America know who is on the podcast. What they call it, the buddy system?
Yes.
I don't know what they call it, the podcast network. What you want to call it?
I don't know. What did you want to call it?
Man, all I want to say is thank you, COVID. Because COVID has made it where social media has just taken off in so many ways. So, what do we call ourselves? The name of our podcast is Thy Kingdom Come. And she's right. The baby's mad right now because Mama just took her Kleenex from her. Give her back that Kleenex.
Here you go, girl.
And so, Thy Kingdom Come. Yes, Thy will be done. We are so excited. Our focus, if you haven't noticed, is on homelessness. My name is Dr. Stinkin Thinkin. And basically, I just wanted to focus in 2020 on how homelessness doesn't have a face.
It doesn't have a face.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
You know, because yours truly has a story to tell, and over time we will. But right now, I just want to introduce this new podcast to America and let them know that the world has changed. It's not just some little person raggedy walking down the street with a street sign that's homeless anymore. It's a mother with a child. It's a businesswoman. It's a corporate executive sleeping in their car. I mean, it's so many faces. We can't even begin to cover. Grandparents with great grandkids coming into the shelter.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that has caught my attention, being a staff here with Reap Lodge, which is a brand new women in shelter home emergency shelter here in Pensacola, Florida, for women and children, because it does not exist. There is such a great shortage of shelter for women and children that until we got into this industry about 5 or 6 months ago, it just blew me away.
Yeah.
I have a special guest with me, and I call her Ivy, but when she talks, you'll see why. She's going to say her name herself and how beautiful and complicated it is, America. And then she's going to be my first guest, and we're going to crack it open, and we're going to create history. Because, America, I want you to hear her age. I want you to hear her status. And she's here with her beautiful daughter, and she has a beautiful name that is connected with Thy Kingdom Come. And we just want to thank them, too, for being here. I also want to give a shout-out for my producer, a.k.a. Kojak Productions, Mr. Chris Tanner himself, for just believing in us and getting this podcast started. And so with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Ivy.
Hi. My name's Ivy Teague, and this is my daughter, Ziva. I go by Ivy. That is my name since forever. It was transformed into me. That's who I am. I call myself Sister Ivy. So that's how I go by.
And Ivy, for the sake of America, tell them about your accent, tell them how old you are, and so forth.
So I am 22 years old.
22, America. Did you hear what I said? 22. For in Spanish, 22. Okay?
I am 22 years old, and my accent, I don't really know where it comes from yet. We're still going to try to take an ancestry DNA test.
Okay.
To see where it comes from, because I'm not sure, because everybody say they don't know. They ain't from Africa, but we don't know.
Right. I can adapt to the environment.
Yes.
And if I'm around Creole, I talk Creole. If I'm around Spanish, I talk Spanish. And my kids tease me all the time. Yeah. So then when I just want to cut up, I just speak in tongues and speak in that Holy Ghost.
Okay.
What you say?
Speak tongues, Holy Ghost Spirit.
Because he will do it. Okay. Won't he?
Yes, he will.
Hey.
Start speaking
that's
tongues.
I'm telling you, that's how he works. So,
all right.
So when we come back from a brief commercial, Ivy is going to begin to share her story, and she's going to tell us about her brief bout with homelessness and how it brought us together to how we were able to meet. So you go tell Pete to tell Paul to tell Saul to tell them all. Get on this radio podcast because Thy Kingdom Come with Dr. Stinkin Thinkin is here, y'all. We'll be right back. Okay, so I hope that you have connected and got everybody to do what they need to do to get on this podcast and subscribe to us, Thy Kingdom Come. Once again, this is Dr. Stinkin Thinkin. I am excited for this 2022 year to be here to just kick off our first broadcast of Thy Kingdom Come. And our focus for the year is homelessness and how it doesn't have a face. And when we last talked on our last break, I had introduced to you one of my sisters inside the facility that I'm a part of, which is called Reap Lodges. It's a homeless shelter for women and children, and it's an emergency shelter as well. And so Ivy had the privilege of being our first guest speaker, because every week we would have one of the ladies come and speak. And some of them are about to transition into their own permanent homes, and we're excited about that as well. And we'll tell you more about that later. But our program is totally brand new. I mean, brick and mortar, just totally new. And we're only 5 months old. Our house is totally full. We have about 45 beds that are full. And let me tell you, God has been doing the thing all 5 months. We want to thank you for Reap Lodge just opening up their hearts to create such a program. And our executive director by the name of Vinny Webbs. And we want to thank him. We want to thank the directors for the homeless shelter itself, Mr. Richard Lynch, our program director, our case manager, Mr. Michael Wilcox, and the rest of our awesome team, Angelica Harris, India Wilson, and myself, Evelyn Weber. And also our new hire, Mr. Joey, our weekend staff, so that yours truly can get a break at night. So that's the commercial and about the shelter and what we do. And so now I want to get back to my lovely guest, Ivy. Okay, so I refresh the listeners how old you are again.
I am 22.
She's 22, America. She is 22. And your race?
I would say I always say other. I never say African American.
She say other. Okay, we're going to go for that. She looks like a beautiful brown chocolate Hershey's Kiss to me. And she has her beautiful daughter here. And let's tell them the name of your daughter.
We got Ziva. She is 1 year old and full of personality.
Ziva is 1 year old. And she's full of personality, America. And what is the name that you said that is connected?
Ziva Shakana.
Shakana. Woo! And you know, when our title is called Thy Kingdom Come, and when we have our first baby guest on board, and her name is Shakana, you just got to put that glory with it and just get excited about this track record on what God is going to do. So, Ivy, just let America know how homelessness doesn't have a face, and tell them a little bit about your story.
So, I am a fitness professional. I started my own business at the age of 18. I moved out of my parents' house at 18, got my first own place, and was just pushing off, transforming into being an adult, living the best life I can, working out, molding myself, motivational speaking, and something happened traumatic where I lost myself in a relationship and let myself choose people over myself to the point where I lost completely everything, because it was, do I want to stay this way, or do I want to break free and become free again? And I took that big risk and I left everything. I left my apartment, I left everything, and it helped me be more still and humble to the fact that you can have everything and you can have nothing in a blink of a second, and it's your choice, or it can't be your choice. But either way, I made the peace of it regardless, and it's teaching me a lot at the age of 22. And one thing about the Reap Lounge, I'm surrounded by a lot of wise women And one thing that a friend told me is, I always notice that you go to your elders when things happen, and that's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm going to continue to do when things get hard.
Woo! She better preach. Thy kingdom come. Even as I was listening to your story, Ivy, I was getting choked up because I have 3 daughters, and my youngest daughter is 22. But your story and my story at the age of 53 are the same. Meaning that I was in a relationship, and the relationship went south after 2 years. It was turbulent, tumultuous all 2 years. But the fact is, I did the same thing you did. I left my apartment. Okay? I run my own nonprofit. I left my apartment, Ivy, because I had to choose. Do I want my peace and my freedom, or do I want to stay in bondage?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so after watching him leave a couple of times, and still I take him back because of my heart. You know, when you give someone your heart, you're gonna let them back. To where this last time, Ivy, I left my apartment.
Yeah.
So I get you. I so get you. I get you. And I said, you know what? Don't go this time. I said, you stay. I'm going to go.
Yep.
And that's what we did. But if it wasn't for different doors being open for us, don't you know that it was all in God's plan?
Yeah.
That's how awesome He works.
Yeah.
I would have never knew that there was an Ivy at age 22 that was going through the same thing as Dr. Stinkin Thinkin at age 53. Isn't that awesome?
It is awesome. Making me hear your story makes me want to cry, because it was 2 years as well.
Wow.
It was 2 years as well.
So when that's what motivated me, and I thank my producer Chris for pushing me, is because homelessness does not have a face. But because of COVID and all the social media things that's taking place, guess what? Homelessness now has a voice.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! Did you hear what I said? It has a voice.
Yeah.
You ain't got to see my face. But I tell you what, there's a lot of us that sound the same.
Yeah.
And lots of times we think that we're isolated and that we're alone.
Right.
And that we're just going through this by ourselves.
Right.
But to hear all the generations past me and you still going through the same struggle, that means that enemy is busy.
Yeah.
And this is why we need to be more busy and be about our Father's business and let them know there is a God.
Yeah.
And He sits high and He looks low. What, girl, don't get me preaching today. This is just the first broadcast.
Yes.
You understand me?
Yeah.
But the connection is showing me we are on the right track.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Now, ladies and gentlemen, all over the world, yesterday, just as a little fun group, Ivy has a passion of being a fitness instructor, right? And when she first came to our program, she basically was saying, when we was thinking of activities to do for the year, that you wanted to do an exercise class, right?
Yeah.
And this was one of the things we threw out there. And then COVID hit us, and then we had to shut down for a couple of weeks, just go on quarantine, remember?
Yep.
And then now we're opening everything back up, and we're out doing what we do. And last night, we had our first chair exercise class.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. You should have seen all us old cats. Our big booty sisters trying to hold on to these chairs. And Ivy doing all these like squats and different things. And she was so patient. And she was like, okay, now you take it out. Okay, and 3 and 2. And we was like, what? And our hearts were beating so fast. And we were so excited just doing it. That the ladies, did you see their self-esteem lifted?
Yeah.
It lifted. I don't care if they was black, yellow, green, or purple.
Yeah.
They loved it, Ivy.
They did.
And the fact that I came out the office and I did it with them, I showed them. I'm just like you, boo.
That's inspiration, yeah.
And then, what was the question that you asked them at the end? When you did a powwow session with all of us, and you said, name what?
Name one thing that you love about yourself.
That thing was powerful because we really had to think then, didn't we?
Yeah.
And did you see them struggle with it?
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
Yeah.
They struggled with seeing the one thing that was they couldn't pull it out. Because as women, we're so busy serving and helping the other person.
Yeah.
that lots of times we put our own selves aside.
Yes, we do.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't catch it, Ivy, until 4 years ago when I became an empty nester. And now I've raised 3 kids. They're all off on their own, grown, saying, see you, Mom, I'm good. And look, I was back like I was in high school again, trying to find Evelyn all over again.
Yeah.
And it was the toughest 4 years. That's right, tell her, baby. It was the toughest 4 years. But I got it now.
You're right.
I understand this journey.
Mm-hmm.
It was to meet Ivies and Chicanas and all ages that's going to be talking, all races that will be talking on this podcast throughout the year. And then, what did you say that we had in common concerning what we're doing right now? And we didn't even know it. You already started.
Oh, a podcast. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we was talking about that. That's how God aligns us with who we're supposed to be.
Yes, you already started your podcast. And what's the name of your podcast?
SistahIvyVinyard.
SistahIvyVinyard. And how can we subscribe to you and follow you?
Spotify. You look up SistahIvyVinyard on Spotify and just click the bell, click follow, and you'll get the
Spotify. Now, for us old cats, we're going to have to kind of Google that. And how you spell Spotify?
Spotify.
Spotify. Okay? And ladies, we're going to do it. We're going to stay connected. This COVID has showed us, social media-wise, we need to get with the update. And that's why my producer is on point because he's a millennial. And he is showing me and keeping me posted on what I need to do. And so that's why, you ain't got to be smart to do this business. You just got to connect with the ones that know how to do it.
Yes,
and so I thank God for all of them. And we're going to get on Spotify and we're going to look for Ivy.
SistahIvyVinyard.
Sister, is it Sista?
Sistah.
Okay.
IvyVinyard.
Okay, and Mama's getting upset right now, and we don't want her to be restless. And so, if there's one or two things as we go to a close, and that you could tell anybody right now, because we want them to still be hungry for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We want them to keep coming. We want them to keep plugging in, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there's something that you can leave with them that's so phenomenal and so powerful, even as we follow your podcast,
Mm-hmm.
what one thing would you like to tell our world? Because it's global now, Ivy. I mean, wait a minute now. Think about it. You're not just going to Pensacola. You're not just going to Florida. We about to take this thing all the way. I'm getting my passport this year.
Me too.
So if they say Ivy, Sister Ivy, and Dr. Stinkin Thinkin, y'all got to come on over to Mabu Buffet. We go.
Yeah, so two things are one that I would like to say to the people out there is, like you said, homeless doesn't have a face, it has a voice. And I think the most important thing about when people hit rock bottom or anything in life that I had to realize is that my voice did matter. Once I left that situation and when I realized, hey, I got to leave for the sake of my daughter and I have a voice. I have to say, it's time for me to put the towel in and I need to go. And it's okay for me to say, I'm tired. Because, so many people want to sit here and tell you, oh, well, you're giving up on me. Well, I'm not giving up on you. I'm giving up on this situation, and I'm going to give up on the toxic situation where I'm compensating myself and my child for the sake of you. So if you want to say I'm giving up on you, go ahead and say that. But right now, I have a voice, and my state matters more than just me having a home like this, because this ain't home. So yeah.
You better preach, Brady. You better preach. God is so good. And I'm holding Shekinah so Mommy can flow and get out what she had to say. And I thank you for being here, Ivy. I thank you for your testimony. And it's an honor and a privilege to have you as my first guest. 22 in year 2022.
It's gonna be my year. This my year.
We didn't even plan that, baby.
We didn't plan
that. Ooh, that thing hit me.
And it's January the 12th, 2022.
Woo!
Year of the choice.
Oh, my Laura.
Are you gonna make
Look at God.
Mm-hmm.
Something's about to take off. I'm finna get my 2,200,600. Girl, that's some type of check. It's coming. coming in twos.
Hey, okay.
Woo!
Coming in twos.
And we want to thank you for just attending Thy Kingdom Come.
Thy kingdom come.
Because you know it. His will going to be done, baby.
Yes, it will.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending our very first podcast. And like I said, tell Pete to tell Paul to tell Saul to tell them all. Dr. Stinkin Thinkin is on the airway, y'all. Good night.